The Amex Platinum Card is one of the most polarizing credit cards in all of the credit card community. While some people say you can get hundreds of thousands of dollars with this credit card every single year,
2021 was my biggest year ever of earning the most amount of American Express points in history. In fact, Amex's dashboard showed that I earned 1.3 million points over the course of the year.
and some people mention that it's not even worth the metal that it's printed on. You have one of the most dynamic, loved, and hated credit cards in all of the world. Have we thought about the credit card game all wrong? And is there a credit card that can fill that gap, fill that void, so if you're a person that doesn't want to get the Platinum Card, you can get this card instead and still reap most of those benefits, if not more. Enter the Hilton Aspire card. Some of you just had an aha moment, and some of you are angry already. But before we get started, let me know in the comments below, which credit card right off the bat do you think is the more valuable credit card based on you? Before I get into all of the facts, just know that I'm a lover of both of these credit cards. And the credit card game is not a one-size-fits-all game. What works for you may not work for me, and vice versa. And that's okay. And maybe this is a comparison of apples to oranges, but hear me out. So starting from the top down, what kind of credit score do you need to get approved for these two credit cards? Typically for either one of these cards, you're going to need a credit score of around 720 or higher. Of course, you're going to get approved a little bit less, a little bit more. Number two is annual fees. The Platinum card we know comes with a $695 annual fee, and the Aspire card comes with a $450 annual fee. Although there are some rumors that that might be bumped up to $550, and none of that has been substantiated, and it's been a rumor for years, so who really knows? So you can see the Platinum annual fee is about $245 more than the Aspire right now, but let's see how we could actually get those annual fees down and see which one actually pays us more in the long run. Of course, we got to talk about sign-up bonuses. Now, the Amex Platinum sign-up bonus ranges anywhere between $60,000 and $150,000 sign-up bonus, and typically has a minimum spend of around $6,000 in the first 6 months of opening the card. Whereas the Hilton Aspire card has been fairly stable at around 150,000 Hilton Honors points after about 4,000 spent within the first 3 months of opening the card. Now, if we just take the averages of what people typically value these points systems at, that could mean anywhere between $1,200 and $3,000 worth of value for the Amex Platinum card on that sign-up bonus. And for the Hilton Aspire card, that could mean anywhere between $750 and about $1,500, so about half that value that you would be getting with the Platinum card. Of course, just subject to how you can actually redeem those points. And of course, up next, we got to talk about the earnings category for these two cards. Now, the Amex Platinum card is a little bit sparse in earnings categories, but it's going to come with 5 points per dollar spent either directly through the airline, as well as prepaid hotels through Amex Travel as well, and that's pretty much it. Then it just comes with 1 point per dollar spent everywhere else. Now for the Aspire card, you're going to be getting 14 points per dollar spent at Hilton Hotels, and that does include any items that actually are in the hotel, like spa services, food and drinks, etc. And with the Aspire, you're going to be getting 7 points per dollar spent directly through the airline and or on Amex Travel as well. Also on rental cars, and then lastly, 7 points per dollar spent on all restaurant spend within the US. And then lastly, you're going to be getting 3 points per dollar spent everywhere else. So if we're just comparing these two categories alone, well, it looks like if you do value the Amex points at 2 cents per point, well, the 5 points category is going to win any day. But the Hilton Aspire is not exactly lacking at the 7 points per dollar spent. And depending on how you actually value that 7x, it could be worth 3.5 cents or 7 cents per dollar spent. And I guess it also depends, like, are you a person that's going to be flying more often, is going to be using those Amex points towards flights, or are you someone who actually really enjoys Hilton Hotels, where in that case, those 7 points per dollar spent via the airline, travel, etc. might be more worth it than just the Amex points themselves, but again, it's up to you. And of course, if you're just booking Hilton Hotels, the 14x is really unbeatable. But that's also another point, no pun intended, is that with American Express points, you also have the ability to transfer them to flights, hotels, a myriad of different things within the Amex Travel portal. Whereas with the points that you get with Hilton Honors is just, well, going to be used for Hilton stays. I mean, there's a couple other redemption options, but they're really not worth it. Now, right off the bat, just hearing that, I can't really make a judgment call just yet on which one is actually better and which one is worse. Let's talk about the meat and potatoes and why these two credit cards can actually be compared in the first place. So let's get into the yearly credits. The Platinum card comes with a myriad of different credits that they tout could be even more than like $1,500 every single year if you can use all of them. The main ones being the $200 hotel credit with FHR and the Hotel Collection. Number two is the $200 Airline Incidental Fee credit, which can be used towards flight upgrades, in-flight food and beverage, and of course, the new hack recently, which is if you're buying flights with the Platinum card under $100, typically that'll be counted towards the airline fee incidental Incidental credit, but your mileage may vary, right? $100 biannual Saks on Fifth credit, $155 worth of a Walmart Plus membership, $200 Uber Eats credit, which is about $15 every single month, and then $25 in the last month, which is December, an Equinox credit, a few other credits, etc., right? Now, of course, this is where the most contention is, and how likely are you to use all of these different credits? Well, I can say just from being in this community for a little bit and talking to some people in the community that most people are not taking the most amount of advantage of the Platinum card. I think we could all agree to that, right? Now, it seems apparent to me that no matter who you are, you end up taking advantage of the Uber Eats credit and the FHR credit guaranteed. So that's $400 right there, and that already brings the annual fee down from $695 down to just $295. Then one of the most contentious ones is the Airline Incidental Fee credit. I know myself, I've missed out on a lot of years worth of this $200 credit, and I'm very sad about that. Now, do I think that everyone that has a Platinum card is actually taking advantage of this full $200 credit? Well, no, I don't think so. I think most people are typically using it towards their checked bags, which that could be, $50 to $100 here and there, and they're usually only flying once per year, which you're usually not getting the full benefit in that way. Do I think most people are actually doing flight upgrades? No, I don't think people are actually doing that as well. I know all the YouTubers are, and please don't attack me. I know everybody who's in this community and really nuanced, they're doing that, but please tell me, do you think your average person is doing that? And especially with that new trick that's been going around now, which is flights under $100, Coda's Airline Incidental Fee credit. I know I can use the full benefit of that credit nowadays, but I wasn't able 2 years ago. And even the Saks on Fifth credit, which I've been able to use. In fact, this shirt right here was completely for free. This was from the Saks on Fifth store. Used my credit, was seamless, amazing. But I also know that too, people are just using it to use it because it's there, not because they actually need it. Which I'm actually seeing some people in the community actually saying like, hey, I'm just going to use the Saks credit and then sell whatever I get from Saks on Fifth just to kind of recoup my costs from that annual fee. I mean, I don't think anybody got a Platinum card to start setting up a yard sale for your unused Saks on Fifth items, right? The Equinox credit, I know it's a bit hard to use and you have to be in some of the major cities that actually have Equinoxes. It's tough. Walmart Plus membership I think is pretty cool, but also I just don't hear a lot of people saying they use it very often. I'm someone that can use it, but I just don't hear a lot of people that are actually using it. But of course, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have a dog in this fight. I like the Platinum card. But now, if we get a little bit more granular with this, if we kind of zoom in on that FHR credit, I think that's where a lot of people find the most amount of their value. I know for me, when I use my FHR credit every single Valentine's Day in the same hotel, that I'm typically getting the $200 for the credit, but then I'm also getting about an extra $200 worth of spa credits, and then dining credits within the hotel itself. Typically, when you're staying at these FHR Hotel Collection properties, they're going to come with a lot of other credits that come with that hotel itself, because they're kind of higher level, higher class hotels, so they give you the free stuff. So which once was just a $200 credit, you could walk away from a one-night stay with $400 worth of available benefits that you took that could be technically discounted against that $695 annual fee. And of course, if you are able to use that Airline Incidental Fee credit towards flight upgrades, that could easily be hundreds and hundreds of dollars right then and there, which easily outweigh the annual fee, right? So now let's just put it all together and get the median value that I think that most people can technically use conservatively. I'm going to ascribe $300 to the FHR, I'm going to ascribe $200 to the Uber Eats credit, put $100 for the Airline Incidental Fee credit, and then throw in another $100 for like the Saks and Equinox and Walmart. Maybe somebody could use that. And then also the digital entertainment credit, which includes things like Peacock, Hulu, Disney Plus, New York Times, etc., which I think a lot of people can take advantage of that. I'm subscribed to Disney Plus and Peacock, and both of them are paid for with the Platinum card. So I'll ascribe the full $240 in value to that, giving you a grand total of around $250 that the Platinum card is paying you to keep the card open every single year. And in a second, we'll talk about lounges and protections, etc. Again, not factoring in categories and spend, we're just talking about credits. Now let's take a look at the Aspire card. Now the Aspire card is interesting to me specifically because of how easy it is to actually use the credits and perks that come with this card. So right off the bat, everybody knows the Aspire card comes with a free night certificate every single year for a standard room night, which a standard room is upwards to about 80,000 points per night, which is about $400 in value. So if me personally were to use this credit card, I would use it in Charleston at the Mills House every single year. That's an 80,000 point hotel, ergo giving me $400 in value every single year guaranteed. But then also when you stay at a property of that caliber, typically you'll also get some benefits as well, like usually just some beverage and dining credits. So right then and there, with that certificate alone, you're already bringing the annual fee down to about $0 to maybe $50 every single year. Then on top of that, you're going to be getting a $250 resort credit. Now, if you're unfamiliar, resort credit is not just a credit for any Hilton property, it's actually for Hilton resorts only. If you want to look this up, just type in Hilton resorts, search on Google. And you'll give a full list of Hilton properties that fall within the resort category, and these are the hotels you can use the $250 credit towards. So now most people assume that resort properties are typically hard to find, but actually if you look through this list, they're kind of plentiful. So I know personally if I were to get this credit card, I would be able to make full use of $250 every single year. And since I forgot to actually mention this in the video, just know that the resort credit is not to be used for the actual hotel itself. It is to be used towards things that could be charged back to your room. So any experiences like spas and restaurants. I was even told by a good friend that he used jet skis experiences at the resort that he was staying at, booked that back to the room, and the resort credit will actually count towards those types of fees. So that's basically how you're going to use them. And I know if I were to book some resort properties, we're definitely doing the spa and definitely doing the restaurant. So we're getting the full brunt of the $250 resort fee. I don't think it's very hard to hit for most people if they're going to be staying in a resort property every single year at least. And if you do it right, you can use the free night certificate at a resort property like the Conrad in Las Vegas, get a bunch of amenities with that resort credit, and then also on top of that, another $100 experience credit that you get just by staying at that hotel itself. I'm pretty sure that's how that could work. But all right, let's get you back to it. To bring my total now to being in profit definitely between $200 and $250 every single year just for keeping this card open. And then the last of the major credits that actually come with this credit card is this credit card also comes with a $250 Airline Incidental Fee credit, just like the Platinum card does, which can be used towards flights and flight upgrades, food and beverages, checked bags, etc. Now you might be saying, Anthony, I mean, be a little bit fair here, right? You only ascribed $100 out of the $200 allotted for the Airline Incidental Fee credit here on the Platinum card. You know, you better be doing the same thing on the Aspire card as well. You're only giving that $100, right? And I would say, fine, yes, sure, I'll give it to you. So now we're at a total profit of around $350 for holding this Aspire card every single year. So good, great, grand, those are the credits, etc. But now let's get even deeper, on a deeper level, and see what else these two cards come with. So now let's go into the actual traveling aspect of these two credit cards and all the different perks and benefits that come with these credit cards that are a little bit less talked about. The Platinum card does come with a clear credit. I think it's $189. It's going to be making traveling a lot easier to where you can actually skip some of the lines, make it a lot easier to get through the lines, and get to your flight a lot sooner. And that is something I know a lot of people in the community who fly are using very often. As well as some of the other perks and benefits regarding TSA PreCheck, etc., which are kind of valued on a 4.5-year basis, not necessarily every single year. And if we're talking about traveling and going to airports and flying, we have to talk about the lounge access. The Platinum card, you're going to be getting access to the Centurion Lounge, the Delta Sky Lounge, and even Priority Pass Lounge. All different lounges where you can relax, eat some food, and just hang out before your flight. And this is where people find a lot of value because they don't want to stay in the normal hotel. They want to be in the nice gifted golden section of the Centurion Lounge where they could possibly get free food and drinks right before their flight. And truthfully, I get it. If not a dollar amount, you can definitely ascribe some sort of value to having the luxury of sitting in one of these lounges right before your flight. And definitely none of these things come with the Hilton Aspire cards. The Platinum card wins in this category every day of the week. But did you know that Hilton's also had their own lounges? That's right, they're not as talked about, but the executive lounges at some of their higher end properties typically allow you to get in if you're a gold member, but there are some executive lounges that only let you get in if you have diamond status. And the Hilton Aspire card just so happens to give you complimentary diamond status for all of their Hilton properties. And I've seen some of these executive lounges. Some of them are pretty lavish, but not always. They actually will also come with free food and beverages while you're just hanging out in the hotels, which I could also see a lot of value in that as well. Like say a bunch of your friends decide to travel and you all stay within the same hotel. Maybe one night you don't feel like going out on the town, maybe you don't feel like spending some extra money. You could possibly go up to that executive lounge and get a bunch of free food and free drinks, etc. Especially if you wanted to like maybe pregame and then take an Uber ride over to wherever you're going for that night. Now speaking of statuses, we did just mention that the Hilton Aspire card comes with a complimentary diamond status. And with diamond status, you get a ton of other perks and benefits. One being, which a lot of people value, is the 100% base points per dollar spent that you get at all Hilton properties. Basically what essentially happens is if you're just a member of Hilton Honors, you're going to be getting 10 points per dollar spent at all Hilton properties. So if I spend $100 on a Hilton stay, I'm going to be getting 1,000 base points for that stay. But what diamond status does is essentially double that to now 2,000 points per dollar spent at that property. But it doesn't just end there, because if you do have the Hilton Aspire card, you're also going to be getting 14 points per dollar spent. So that actually gives you a grand total of 34 points per dollar spent on all Hilton properties, so long as you use the Hilton Aspire card. Which, depending on how you value that, could be anywhere between a 17% and return on all spend at Hilton properties, which is like mind-blowing. You also get a myriad of other benefits right here, as well as just complimentary room upgrades, diamond member parking, which we all laugh at because nobody ever verifies that anyway, which I heard that apparently some may check, but who knows. But I haven't seen people check so far. And don't forget that the Hilton Aspire card also does come with priority pass access. So while it might be a little bit more crowded, at least you do have access to a lounge when you go to airports across the world when you have the Aspire card. And while the Aspire card comes with diamond status, which is the highest status you can get with Hilton Hotels, the Amex Platinum card is not necessarily a slouch when it comes to statuses. Not only are you going to be getting gold status with Hilton Hotels, you're also going to be getting gold elite status with Marriott properties, and some car rental statuses with Avis, Hertz, and National. So I guess on the front of statuses, if you're really just a Hilton loyalist, then sure, the Aspire wins, but if you're just trying to have a full gambit of traveling statuses, then I would have to give it to the Platinum card on this one. And then the last layer of all this is just what's the underlying protections that come with these two credit cards. Now really, they just fall under the same umbrella of American Express, so really there's not a huge difference between the two of these and what protections you actually get. So they're both going to be getting your standard purchase protection, trip reimbursement, and delay insurance, as well as just extended warranties with whatever purchases you actually make on these respective credit cards. So now let's just look at you and I in our life situations and try to figure out who are these credit cards really for. Now for me personally, I do think that given my current lifestyle, since I'm flying less than once per year, and that I'm also not able to make use of a lot of the other auxiliary benefits that actually come with the Platinum card, that I think if I had to just choose one, I probably would go with the Aspire card, considering I love Hilton Hotels, and I just love the idea of having free night certificates being totally paid for. I get the free night certificate as $200, but typically that's never covering the full cost of an FHR property or Hotel Collection property anyway. And so should I choose to fly, I still have that $250 Airline Incidental Fee credit that I could book towards flights around $100, or at least use it for flight upgrades, check bags, and I still have priority pass, so I can still kind of travel in comfort. Even though it may be packed, there's a lot of people, I at least have the option to have a lot of the same benefits that come with the Platinum card, but just on the Aspire. Whereas on the Platinum card, I love the idea of the Centurion lounge, I love all the statuses, I love a lot of the perks and benefits, just not all of them, I guess. And if I do so choose to fly more than once per year going forward, then I would probably say that the Platinum card could outweigh the Aspire card for me personally, somewhat easily. So with all that in mind, I have to put the Platinum card, for me personally, at profiting maybe $250 every single year, whereas the Aspire card I know would probably guarantee me around $500 to maybe $550 every single year in profit if I had owned this card. So I guess for each one of these cards, you just have to be really honest with yourself. Like say if I want to get the Amex Platinum card, I just have to be true to myself and say, how likely am I to hit Centurion lounges over the next coming few years? If the answer is, well, not that likely, I'm probably not going to go to those airports anyway, I want to fly to other places that don't have lounges, then hey, that may be a small reason on why you shouldn't get the Platinum card. Or if you're a person like how I've been in the last few years, is I like driving everywhere. I don't like flying too far, etc. I'm scared on planes. Let me just drive 10 hours in any different direction and I'll end up somewhere that's would be called a vacation spot. Then again, Aspire will probably win every single day, and maybe there's another reason why you shouldn't get the Platinum card. Or if you're a person that doesn't like using Uber Eats, so you're not getting $200 for that, or if you don't like Peacock or Disney Plus and you like to just watch everything on YouTube, these are all great reasons why you should not have to get the Amex Platinum card, and that's okay. And if you're on the fence about the Hilton Aspire card and you're like, I don't really care for Hilton properties, I think the points are garbage, I don't think they're worth anything, the free night certificate is cool, but maybe I don't want to stay in a Hilton property, maybe the places I like to vacation at don't have nice Hilton properties, and I would be forced to use it at a much lower value ratio, maybe only like $150 Hilton stay I would have to use for the certificate. Or if you just assume that you're more than likely to never go and stay at a resort property whatsoever, and you're just a Marriott loyalist, or you're just someone like, hey, I want to have the ability to go to lounges and airports, I want to fly very often, then yes, all great reasons why the Aspire may not be for you. And let me know down below, I really want to hear you guys' opinions on this, because I'm someone who has a Platinum and I want an Aspire, and what I should possibly do in the future. So please let me know what you personally value from each of these one credit cards, and what do you think I should do based on my situation, right? And also, don't let me forget, but there's actually a way to make the Amex Platinum card, that $695 annual fee, way cheaper, and actually get it about half off, and sometimes paid for completely for free. So check out that video next. I'm sure you're going to get a ton of value from it.